Morning, everybody. So things are pulling back a bit, and we're going to wait for these earnings reports to come out. Of course, some of them are coming, but prices pull back to support. Buyers are supposed to show up, and they did to some degree. I'm looking at the technology ETF here to start. So this is just our basic thought process. There's a pivot high, there's going to be sellers, and a pivot low, there's going to be buyers. And that's what we think, and then see what candles form there and what the reaction is to it. And so now on this particular ETF, coming down to these pivots, you see it kind of walked its way down there and kind of just went under it a little bit, and it came back up near the end of the day. So obviously, Microsoft coming out and different, I think Intel and different technology companies. We'll see if this can get back up to the top of the range or whether lower. So the problem, we've been talking about this with the markets, the problem is that overall, the ranges aren't very big. In addition, the smaller ranges are within bigger ranges, and prices are at the top of the bigger range, which is what's making a difficult market right now, because this move up, the depth of retracement was positive that it was able to get up there. So far, it's positive that it's just consolidating up near the highs, but markets are waiting for more information before they commit or hit the bid. Well, just what we're dealing with right now. And at some point, it'll come to an end. But right now is just a lot of indecision, small ranges and small candle bodies here on the weekly chart up here. And we'll just have to see how it unfolds. Stocks like NVIDIA, that led the way up. It's coming off of the low here. Where is it? Basically unchanged. It was a little bit lower, but highs and lows, same story. Which way is it going to break? But it's been going up for a long time. So look, things are resting here. What was strong? Healthcare. I don't know if we've looked at that here in our pre-market, but that brought up the rear a couple of weeks ago. Semiconductors they're broken through these lows here slightly, but they're pulling back. So these pullbacks, are they buyable? And we're going to see. So far, there's no patterns. We always think pullbacks toward support, there's going to be buyers there, but look at the way this came down. Wide bar up, wide bar down, tails, small candle bodies, rejection on the way up on this bar here. And it's got room to fall, but who's going to sell it aggressively with these earnings reports coming? And I don't think anybody. And if the reports are good, maybe it flips it back up. So we just continue to deal with a situation of uncertainty and what's going on in the bond market versus the stock market. Many have talked about that. And so it'll continue until something gives. All right, let's see where things are at. Spiders, gap down to the bottom of those bars, and they're just staying there for now, not gapping below it. And so here's little tiny pullbacks, It's so close to the prior high. These are bad pullbacks. Right? What you want to see is more steady pullbacks toward like a rising 20. You want to see the distance between, take these three bars and pull them all the way down here. A fluid move down to that support area, and then those three bars are going to move up. All right, so this is going nowhere, and let's look at SPX. I've got them marked off here, and I got the same numbers Jake got, and it's kind of interesting because these ranges are contracting, or the strikes that you want to play this are coming tighter and tighter. So SPX is, well, we've got 25 minutes to go. Right now it's here based on where spiders are. So from that point, could it get down here? So if I drag these lines and say average range, and Jake's telling me expected move based on, I guess, Greeks or whatever, however they do it, implied volatility on options or 20 handles. Average ranges right now over the last several days are about 28, 29 points. So I drag this down here to say, well, it's opening here and it's not opening unchanged. And where would that put it? Well, 4150 is definitely, for me, too close for comfort to go up there. And 4080, at least, you've got this support here. Neither one of these are no-brainers, especially with the weeklies at the top of the trading range here. If we could get premium, say it rallies at the open, and we can get premium above this pivot high, it would have to be a pretty decent rally. But coming up, if it did rally up to here, then premium up here. So, ranges are contracting, volatility index is down low, option premiums aren't what they were, and these zero DTE credit spreads on SPX aren't the no-brainers that they were at one time. So, and we don't want to get on the wrong side of these, but this number, I said this yesterday, let's see which way it goes and see, depending how fast it goes in the morning is whether you're going to have premium or not, because sometimes it starts going an hour later and the premium deteriorates unless it moves really fast because of the time decay. So kind of a balance, and it's just gotta move, one way or the other. And so, with that anticipation that is going to be a relatively narrow range, you got to decide, that, hey, if you do these, just because an options model says it's going to be a narrow range, and it has been lately, you can see the last 2 days, right? 24, 24. That's what these numbers are down here. A high and low of the current bar and the prior bar and the range. So the range has been 50 cents difference in those last 2 days. And at some point, I guess on earnings or some news, it's going to break one way or another. Based on the weekly chart and what's happening here, the better way to break is lower, since it's at resistance, because a break higher, it's just a mess up here. And remember yesterday I said what we would look for would be a bar something like this. So we had it here, right? We had this bar, wide range bar, or something that would gap down, a flush bar and a shakeout, something that would gap down, and then a wide range bar, range expansion bar. Something like that would be so much better, thinking that prices could go higher. But these little narrow bars up here at the top of the trading range, that is not attractive for longs. It's more attractive that, remember we talked about this bar a couple of weeks ago and a possible breakout bar failure, but it's just sitting there doing nothing. I've been through this before many years ago. It wasn't pleasant then either. This lack of movement. So tech has been getting sold a bit, and it's coming back down to the bottom of the trading range. It's never a good thing for prices to retrace back down to the bottom of a wide range bar. Here we had 3 wide range bars, and pulling back a little bit, this should have resulted in an advance, and it didn't. So there's more distribution going on, more uncertainty. And let me read what McGrath saying. Options suggest 41.75. Infinite range will hold into the week. Positioning seems to be set for FOMC. Could be. I guess that's a reasonable thought, but what if one of these big tech companies comes out with some monster earnings, good or bad? I think that's going to move things around, but we'll see. Where'd all that open interest go at 4,000 on SPX? Well, I guess they closed the positions. Yeah. All right. So coming down to support, buyer should be down here. See if they can lift it off a little bit. Same story here at resistance, chopping around. Telling me a lack of movement when the VIX was 9 or 10. And yes. Well, the VIX, look, the VIX is low, but it can go lower. All right, here's your volatility index. And I got spiders up here. And you can see it's kind of inched up a little bit, moves up and down at the end of the day. And this little rounding kind of a bottom there, very shallow pullback. And we put this on a weekly chart. You see this trading range that prices have been in, and VIX comes down here. And you can see there's a higher tendency for pullbacks. But things aren't moving. So it's reasonable to think prices will pull back. And so far, they've just, you can see here, a little tiny drifts lower, which isn't bearish. It's just boring. So there isn't much happening. Come on. This internals sentiment. Let's see what we got here. Neutral, just been neutral. Breath coming down toward 0. Doesn't really mean much, but we'll see if this continues to deteriorate. Equity put call ratio down here. No matter where we look, things just come back to more of a neutral environment here where institutions are waiting for something. Russell, moving down a little bit on the pivot low. Weakness there. We've looked at that trading range. Support not all that far away, and that did some hell of a whipsaw yesterday morning. Here, where was it? This was here. It whipped up and down. Some crazy intraday price action. There's S&Ps here, drifting down. I've already come down close to the 20 a couple of times. So, as a general thought, when whether it's support or a move subjective, like a moving average gets tested or real close to it, and it doesn't produce anything and loses its potency as a reference point. And you can see here, we're getting close to the bottom of that wide range bar. Same trading range. Waiting for something to happen. Dow holding up relatively well. Bottom of the wide range bar. Intraday trading range here. Bigger trading range on the weeklies. That certainly looked like it was going down, and it survived. And it's into this resistance. See what it does. So dollar, drifting down a little bit. We've been talking about this on the weekly charts. It made the turn here, attempted turn inside the wider bar. So far, not doing anything. So, if this, it looks like these dots here, it looks like it's up a little bit. I think you make it silver or gold. Yeah, you can see the dip there. I want to see if this closes like this. And I just don't like shallow pullbacks because you're so close to the resistance. And the same story here on the weekly chart, just bad pullback type of setups. Low odds, I should say, low odds. Bad more refers to overlapping bars and messy arrangement of bars like this, breakout failure, bodies. This platform doesn't have DX, but we can look at UUP. It's a little different since the futures on would pull back a little bit more. I think they were already down here near the low, but we can look at the euro. It's pretty close, inverted, and you can see this is possibly, this is what I'm talking about, shallow pullbacks and retesting. There's going to be sellers up there. It's up multiple weeks in a row. It's a greater than 100% retracement, so that suggests momentum is going to slow here on the weekly chart. And we'll see, does this double top up here? So set an alert, see if it pulls back. Interesting, bonds are moving up. The 2-year coming off of the 50s, which when interest rates are coming down, it makes me want to look to see if this is coming down a little bit, which it is not. And so the 10 years pulling back to the support again. The theme is no matter where we look, there's uncertainty. Markets are waiting for something. FOMC, earnings, and so on. So, and the takeaway from that, don't try and make something out of what isn't, because, things like SPX that were no brainers before, and now they're not. So psychologically that gets frustrating. It's like you took away the candy jar, and whether, that's related to any other type of trading strategy, because markets change, and then, you get frustrated and maybe you start doing things that you shouldn't. They're not part of the plan. So environments change. And I've been through this over all these years, and sometimes, it's kind of not great for a little while. So stick with it. All yours, man.
Good morning. A lot of earnings this week, so we'll see if that provides the impetus of a move. I posted a couple things here I liked this morning. Triple M bottom right. Liked it better, with a gap to over 106. Now it's under. So I won't have to rush into that. ARE, a beautiful bottoming pattern up here a little bit. So that looks great. That's just a clean breakout. It's not capping too big. It's not capping down. It's open relatively flat. So we'll just buy that over last week's high. What else did I post here? NRG is not earnings. Yeah, Thomas, I'll get the earnings. But this is a very clean buy setup. It's a V top. This was a buy setup right there also. And it failed. So that's why well, it really didn't fail because it didn't trigger. But that's why I call it a new low plus. Sometimes when the first reversal doesn't hold and it's still otherwise totally fine, then look for the next reversal. And it took it out and snapped right back with range expansion. That's a minor support, rising 20. So that looks fantastic. Let's come up here to earnings stocks. Oh, and EXPD was just a leftover from yesterday. Greg found for us. So that's good to go. Let's set an alarm on that. 112.73. All right, I already got it. These are earning stocks. I already went through them once and deleted a bunch of them. Some of these I can't see where the gaps are. CDNS, that's an ugly gap, creating now a topping pattern. So that's a call spread idea. I can't see the gap. That's where I got ARE from as a long. I typed that there's a number of these stocks that have run a lot into earnings. And if they gap up again, like these are, they're potential short-term tops for call spreads. So Bro is one. Pepsi's one right here. McDonald's is one. Look at this amazing grind. And also notice it's whipping around a lot pre-market. So that's also kind of telling me that that it could be the start of a top. I'm gonna put that in a window. McDonald's package. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about retracement in MT Live, and this is a great example of greater than 100% retracement, bullish price action, closing breakout, bullish weekly. I can't tell where it's gapping, but this is a beautiful candidate to go higher if it opens relatively flat. I'm just going to set an alarm at 145, just a few pennies above yesterday's high, and I already did that. See, I did the pre-market already on my first go around. Hexel, set an alarm at 69.20. If it can get over yesterday's high, then you got to avoid. CCK, set an alarm at 79.60. The bottoming pattern, a new low 180 reversal, has a price void, maybe target 50 MA. Let's see, and I already set an alarm. See, I already did my homework. So I feel like I'm the barber where they go and double check the right length, and he's like, yep, I already did that. AGNC. I set an alarm at 10:15 already. This CHX, I don't like the pattern. Just going to delete you. 10B. This, I went and looked to see if this was a bio. That is one nasty gap. Wow. I'm going to put that in a window just to see if buyers want to step up. SSD, strong. This could be maybe 30-minute high. Let's see. Strong, daily, weekly, 30-minute high candidate. PCH, no pattern, deleting you. Cade, there's no pattern right now, but I don't know, it's junk. It looks like one of these, there's so many weak regional banks. Yeah, right here, Frick. Look at this. This was one that started off with the weakness causing the regional banking collapse recently. And this thing's been in a coma. And it's getting whacked again. They said 40% of their depositors hit the road. And I would too. If you were in one of these weak banks that, you read in the journal that they got problems with bond losses, why do you want to mess around with it? Get out. This is another regional bank that looks nasty. NBR, what did I say? Dude. Yeah, I think Greg might have said it, but whenever you get a big bar into earnings, then yeah, that's kind of the normal kind of thought that somebody knows something, that they're jumping into it ahead of earnings. So yeah, NBR, we actually did a beautiful naked, I think 95 put spread into earnings. I was intending to hold it over earnings, but the spreads tightened up and we were able to make an amazing gain in 5 minutes. So we just took it. But yeah, that's still on my list to re-enter. This one, I don't know if this is a bank. Let me look real quick, but it just has the footprint. Yeah, Bank of NT Butterfield and Son. Wow, it's a stupid name in my opinion. But look at this upside shakeout and just devastated. It can't bounce. It's horrible. So some, obviously some, the saying of, some are going to survive and the deteriorating, tanking industry, and some are going to go under, some are going to merge, some are going to whatever. And there's a lot of them that look horrible. All right, HLX, I don't see any prints, but I do, it says it's down 34 cents. We'll come back to you. And there's our MBR right there. Yeah, we sold them for $2.15. They were spready, and then all of a sudden I saw $1.30 offer. So I had made 85-cent gain in 5 minutes. Craft looks like another junk regional bank. TBI, I don't see any pattern. You're gone. So I mentioned Pepsi. These, we'll check them out. Here's another one, big call spread, DHR, 245, ugly gap, no pattern. We'll come back to you. Oh, UPS getting whacked here. Wow, Sam, I am. Remember, I don't know if you're here. Remember, we were thinking about the 185s. Sure glad we didn't. Yeah, we dodged that one. So 184. That's ideally this will sell off more, and then the more the better. And then I'll be looking at this for an intraday reversal and possibly do a Friday put spread. NEE was up, now down. I'm going to delete you. Verizon had this nasty gap when T fell, his cousin. And that's gapping lower. That's a big old mess. Oh yeah, absolutely, Alex. Yeah, absolutely. The Qs are basing very bearish pre-market here on the 5-minute chart. RTX was up. It's a mess. I like Greg's concluding comment today when he said, wherever you look, there's uncertainty. All right, so GE was up, now getting slammed. Nothing to do. FISV, it's a put spread idea, 30-minute high. Sherwin, their puts are usually spready, but if you can get 230 and lower, it could be a put spread. Triple M turned red. Let me set an alarm at yesterday's high, 105.32. MCO alarm. I don't see a print. But let's watch MCO. Hexel, I had the gaps too big. I was hoping it would gap just near yesterday's high. All right, I'm going to put MCO here because I really like this as a gap breakout. Twilio low alarm. Let's now tighten stop on Twilio. We're long puts on this. D-Dog low alarm, let's tighten stop, 55.76. Twilio. 55.76. Oh, Greg, sorry, I just saw your Rosa. So hold on, Jose. Hold on. I gotta update this for subscribers. D-Dog low alarm. CCK up alarm. Yeah, that was another nice pattern, but my target was the 50, so the gap's too big. Jose, YouTube asking about fresh meat. I don't know what to do with that. It could be a short scalp on the 15-minute chart, but it's just totally range bound on the daily. I think we can find better. Spots was on, I posted as a put spread, but the gap's too big. I wanted to short puts into this for advisory letter into earnings, but it never triggered. But that would have been a good one. Amazing strength, daily, weekly, monthly on that thing. Right, Twilio, we're also in the call spreads. Let me adjust that.